Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Couple channel. I'm Wendy, and here is my non-spoiler review for Damsel. Starring Millie Bobby Brown, a dutiful damsel agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to find the royal family has recruited her as a sacrifice to repay an ancient debt. Thrown into a cave with a fire-breathing dragon, she must rely on her wits and will to survive. I feel like this definitely isn't the first movie where we have a damsel in distress, but she doesn't need rescuing, she can rescue herself. And that is definitely the messaging of this movie. So while it's not completely unique, there are a couple of twists in this movie that I didn't see coming. Don't worry, I'm not going to reveal that in this video. This is a non-spoiler review. And if you've already watched the trailer, you already know this, and also you heard it in the description just a bit earlier. Millie Bobby Brown plays Princess Elodie, who has been essentially arranged / she's agreed to marry Prince Henry from the Kingdom of Aria. Now she's doing this because it's going to be the best decision for her realm, which is suffering financially, it's impoverished. So this marriage could really help her people, from going hungry, have clothes to wear and stay warm for the winter, and etc. So like in the description, she's a dutiful damsel. She cares about the people in her realms, and this is why she's doing this despite how much her heart is saying, no, this is wrong. I don't want to marry some guy I don't know. But she meets the prince, she meets the royal family. They all seem nice. The castle is beautiful. So she's thinking maybe it can't be that bad, except that it's not exactly just a royal wedding. She is a part of a sacrifice that must be made to repay an ancient debt. So I would say the first act of this movie is really exposition heavy. It needs to set up, the origin of why is there this debt that the kingdom of Auria owes the dragon. Why does that exist? What is it exactly? And it also needs to establish and very quickly to establish the relationship that Elodie has with her younger sister, her dad, and her stepmother. And I feel like the movie really starts moving once we got into the second act. And also when we arrive in the Kingdom of Aria, like that's where it really, really starts. And despite, having all the setup and you're being introduced to all these characters and they all have connections in one way or another, whether it's to the debt or to Elodie, everything really shines when it is just focused on Millie Bobby Brown and her journey once she is literally tossed into the dragon's den. And again, I mentioned it earlier, this is not the first time we've had like a damsel can save herself sort of a movie, but what I liked about this is that they didn't make her, yes, she has a strong will to survive. They show that in the first bit of the first act, that she is, willing to put in the work. So she's not just like some prim and proper princess. She has, physically she's able to do things, but she's not imbued with superhuman strength. She can only do as much as her body is able to do. So that I like that they kept that kind of, a little bit more real in a fantasy setting. And best of all is the range of emotion that Elodie or Millie Bobby Brown has to portray through this movie. There is shock of what is happening to her and confusion, trying to figure that out, despair, wanting to give up and just give in to like, this is my fate, I am done for, to that, the later turn determination, like, no, this is not how I go out. I gotta do everything I can to try and survive this. So I like that they show a range of motion for her. And I feel like sometimes we have these movies that like, you put your hero or heroine in the situation and they're right away like, okay, let's go. And I like that for this one, she sat there and she was like, what is happening? She was scared, afraid, completely just falling apart until she was like, no, I gotta figure a way out of this. This is not how I'm gonna go out. I also like that this movie was a lot more brutal than I was expecting. It's, Netflix streamer, but it's I was thinking maybe like a little bit younger than YA audience. But the way this movie, it's got a dragon in it. So, we're going to have some fight scenes, some fire-breathing dragon versus, army moments. And there were just moments way more brutal than I was expecting. Not like The Boys or anything like that graphic, but way more graphic than I was expecting. So yeah, she gets, they put her through the ringer. She has a lot of injuries. It's almost, I would equate this to like a John McClane type of injury. She is covered head to toe from with bruises and cuts and scrapes and etc. You know, she's in a den and she's essentially defenseless. Like she doesn't go in with weapons. So I like that she had to really find her way. The action I really enjoyed. I loved watching Elodie's journey, you know, as she tries to figure her way out, how to escape the dragon, how to escape out of this lair. What I really didn't like was the dialogue. Most of it felt, not that they didn't work, but they felt really awkward. A lot of the times when the characters are saying it, I didn't believe it. It felt forced. Some of the conversations felt very fast tracked, like we got to set this up and put this in here so maybe we can do a callback to it later and then we move on. So it just kind of, a lot of the lines really landed flat for me, and that was even the case with performances from, not her performance, but her lines. Like Angela Bassett is in this movie. She plays the stepmother of Elodie and her younger sister Foria. She made the lines work because she's Angela Bassett, and she made them believable, but it doesn't work for the whole movie with a lot of what the other characters are trying to say and convey. It just doesn't come across as believable or genuine. Robin Wright is also in this movie. She and Angela Bassett have a great scene. So Robin Wright plays the queen in the Kingdom of Aria, and I felt like her lines were like the most well written, and she really gave it a great performance. But there was a specific scene between her and Angela Bassett's character, and that was probably the one exchange that I enjoyed the most because there were some real genuine emotion going into that one. Another thing I want to kind of nitpick on is they made a point in the movie to show Elodie's, I guess I could say like maybe fascination or like her maybe hobby of sketching, and she would sketch, she was a good artist, like she could sketch things, but she also likes to make things she likes to draw mazes and layers and puzzles, which is like great and sets her up for character to kind of figure out how to survive in the dragon's den. But at the same time, they established it twice, or maybe 3 times, and then they didn't really put her particular skill to use. It was kind of, I don't want to ruin that part for you, so you're going to have to watch the movie to find out what I'm talking about. But they established it, and they didn't really use it in the way that I was expecting them to use it. Like, that was one of her strengths, and it wasn't utilized at all. So I thought, what was the point of showing that if you're just going to hand her, like, this one solution the answer to a certain solution on a platter? So I thought that was really interesting. But everything else, like, everything Elodie goes through and her conversation with the dragon, yes, it's a speaking dragon, like I really enjoyed those moments. So again, the movie shines when it's her in the den trying to survive and the dragon. So I guess dialogue maybe wasn't super important in this film. Look, I think Millie Bobby Brown did a really good job as the lead for this film. She literally carried the movie because it's 80% of it is just her alone by herself. So I think she did a great job emotionally, portraying all the ranges of emotion, physically. She did great. She looked great. The movie is going to stream on Netflix starting on March 8th, so you can watch it from the comfort of your couch. And I'm going to go ahead and give this movie since it's on Netflix, stream it. And there you have it, my non-spoiler thoughts on Damsel. Let me know your thoughts once you've seen it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review.